Spaghetti here. I just want to inform that I will be working with the fact that you know at least the surface lore of both Undertale and Deltarune. I want to clarify that I don't want to dismiss anyone's theory on anything. I am simply theorizing on my own. Nothing that I say should be taken as concrete proof, and these videos are just for fun. Please take everything I say with a grain of salt. If you have constructive criticism that you want to share, feel free. I'm making this a public video to air others' opinions and theories. I also want to say that this video will have text to read, so I recommend not completely closing it. If a text is on the screen, it will play this sound. Thank you for listening, and let's get back to the video. Bye! Hello there. This is the first time I'm making a video like this. I wanted to do something like this for a while, and I think that I finally found something that I'm passionate about and that I can actually relate to. Therefore, I think I can speak on this. Today, I want to speak about something I saw a few people talk about, but I didn't see an actual video on this. Plus, I want to share my opinion on it. Toriel is not a good mother. She hasn't been since Undertale, and people have been ignoring it. Of course, she isn't the spawn of Satan, but I feel like people have been ignoring her actions for far too long. As she isn't a saint either, as many make her out to be. I don't want to talk about Undertale as much as I want to talk what made me do this video, Chapter 4, and the scene where Chris and Susie find Toriel dancing with Sam. Let's be real with each other here. If the person Toriel was dancing with wasn't Sans, it wouldn't be seen as positive. Don't get me wrong, Toriel is definitely a ship that I like, but since it was Sans, people missed the implication of what this scene was meant to represent. It shattered Chris's reality. Now I will speak from experience as someone with divorced parents. Whenever my dad showed me his new girlfriend, I felt awful. When you're a child, you still hope at least a little that your parents being back together might happen. Especially since it seems it wasn't that long since the divorce. If you find your drunk mother with a man you barely know, drinking wine, dancing, acting like your father doesn't exist. If you have divorced parents, this scene hit hard. Toriel is not a good parent, and this scene is not the first indicator of this. If we go to the library in hometown, we can check a book, How to Take Care of Humans or Monsters, which Toriel has apparently taken multiple times. Now it's good that Toriel is trying to learn some things about human behavior. However, this may be implying that Toriel only took the book when it was necessary, instead of buying it full or reading the whole thing at first. She always took it if something Chris was doing was unusual and she didn't know how to handle it. It's good Toriel tried to help Chris with the things she herself didn't know how to handle. However, her only taking the book when it's absolutely necessary instead of buying it and keeping it home is a bit weird to me. Yes, she may wanted to hide it from Chris. However, she could have just been more direct to them. And this brings me to my next point. Toriel's non-direct communication. It has been said and shown multiple times Toriel does not talk to Chris about everything, and if she does, it's only hints, slight truth, and secrets. For example, when Chris asked when their horns will start to grow, Toriel, instead of telling them directly that their horns won't grow, bought them a headband, which Chris then refused to take off. It's clear no one actually told Chris that they're not a monster at first. They maybe hinted at it, but hints are not direct confrontation, which in this situation was needed. From what we know about Chris, they were probably really upset when they found out, if not devastated. When they did find out, it definitely was on their own, or when another monster told them, instead of their family, instead of their mother, Toriel. When Asgore tells Chris to give Toriel a bouquet, I don't know how to pronounce this, sorry. We can choose to give it to Toriel or Alphys. Alphys is not important for this point. However, if we give it to Toriel, it's heavily implied that the flowers ended in the trash. Instead of telling Chris about how she doesn't love Asgore anymore and isn't comfortable with his gifts, she thanks Chris and acts as if nothing happened. But this isn't just her indirect responses to Chris, but to Asgore as well. When Asgore approaches Toriel in the shop or after the church in chapter 4, Toriel, instead of telling how she actually feels, not feeling anything for Asgore anymore and not feeling comfortable with gifts and shows of love, she instead just tells that she's busy and has to go. She runs off, leaving Asgore with a false sense of hope, just as she did Chris and their headband. If we go to Undertale, to see that Toriel was never that good of a parent, even in Deltarune's alternate reality, we need to analyze not only what she did to Frisk, but what she did to the other children as well. As we know, the other souls that fell into the underground had the same weight that Frisk did. Therefore, Toriel had to let them out of the ruins, while knowing what will meet them if they got out. Yes, she stopped Frisk at first, but she still let us after. She let out the other souls as well, and we know how their lives ended, whether it was Undyne's spear, Sans bones, or Asgore himself. All of the souls died after leaving the ruins. Yes, we don't know which soul may have just escaped, which fought Toriel like we did, but this shows at least a slight bit of ignorance in my opinion. If you go back to when we ask when we can go home, she, again, answers indirectly. Instead of telling us the truth of what's going to happen to us, she lies and says that we shan't go and she has to go somewhere. She does say the truth about Asgore when we meet her in the basement. However, she doesn't tell us about the other dangers. Undyne, Papyrus, Mettaton, all of these, from my knowledge, are left out from her speech. She also doesn't mention Sans, who, yes, promised her that he won't hurt a human who falls down, but she has never actually seen his face, only his voice. Yes, their conversation might have been long, but I feel like she doesn't know him enough. She trusts a person she has never actually seen with a very important promise. There is also the fact that she can kill us when we fight her, resulting in a shock sprite, meaning that she is not careful enough. Of course, that can be caused just by bugging the game, as when we try to die, she dodges us with her attacks. To end this off on a better note, Toriel is very naive and isn't the best mom in the world. However, this video was just to kind of wake up the fandom after chapter 4. I love Toriel. She is the first friendly character we see in Undertale and in Deltarune. She is beautifully written, flawed, but still caring. I am Soriel shipper. I like this scene in chapter 4. However, the implications are clear. This is not meant to be a happy scene. This is supposed to show Chris's reality breaking apart, as the family he wanted and missed may not be repaired. Ever. And Sans might be the cause of this.